It's a way, it's an extraordinary tool where we can really, as teachers, see who watched the videos, how often they watch the videos. You could add check for understanding questions and guidance. You can do voiceover on certain videos. I mean, there's just so much wealth here that we really wanted to share. And this is something that would be great for like asynchronous instruction. This is great for Wednesdays. This is great before they get into synchronous, or even during synchronous instruction, that you give them a couple of minutes to work on an Edpuzzle video. So the first thing I'd like to ask, and this is why I wanted you guys to get on Pear Deck, is what is your experience with Edpuzzle? How often have you used it with students? Maybe you've never used it and you have no clue what Edpuzzle is, and that's okay. Maybe you've just signed up for it a while ago. Maybe you've used it once or twice, but that's kind of it, or that you use it often. So as you are filling this out, you can then look at my Zoom screen just to see that the responses. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys 30 more seconds. So I have a couple more people filling it out. This is a nice guidance to just show that in 30 seconds, you're going to get kind of a screen that will pause. And I have 2 people that haven't responded yet. So if you go onto my Zoom screen now, you'll be able to see that majority of the teachers here have never used it. So this is great for us to kind of know, right? Because that gives us directions of how much to cover, how fast or slow to cover it. Some of us, so there's a few that have signed up for the account, which is awesome. And then there are 3 people that use it often, which is great. So the 3 people that have used it often, please, check out the chat. If there's questions that people post, you could respond to those. But it's also good to know that in your building, you do have some experts. And those experts could help others in kind of getting started with Edpuzzle. So that's awesome. Thank you for that response. Here's our agenda today. We are going to show you how to sign in and start creating Edpuzzle videos. And creating Edpuzzle videos does not mean you have to start from scratch. And so Brian will show you kind of the nuances of that. And that's going to probably be about 30 minutes of the time is that, as well as how to, after you're done with the video, well, how do you disseminate to the students? Edpuzzle has a great way of connecting to Google Classroom. So Brian will show that. Then we'll go to the teacher view when a student completes an Edpuzzle, right? Because that's where like the biggest things happen. After the student completes the video, what is it that the teacher sees? So that's that engagement piece, right? So we can tell, even if a student doesn't have their screen on, during Zoom, I could still tell if they worked on this Edpuzzle video. And that's huge. We will also show you some of the other resources to help you get started with Edpuzzle, as well as professional development that you can take through True North Logic. And then hopefully there'll be time for questions from you. Any questions so far? Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to have Brian do his thing. And then Brian, let me know when you want me to add the link.
Okay. All right, hopefully you see my Rock Connect page.
Yes.
Yes.
So all teachers grades 7 through 12, when you go in Rock Connect, should now see the Edpuzzle icon. All right, we do have the paid, I think they call it the pro account for Edpuzzle for all the teachers 7 through 12. So when I want to go into my Edpuzzle account, I can just go into Rock Connect and I'm going to click on that icon. I'm signed in already. Let me just log out so you can see. It will probably take you to a page like this if you have not signed in already. So we're going to go over and you just click on login. It will ask if you're a teacher or a student. Now, I've had a few people that this has really got confused because they took the PD on Edpuzzle where they signed in as a student, but then they never logged out. So if you do a class on Edpuzzle as a student, you want to make sure that you sign out of Edpuzzle before you go to try to use it as a teacher. So here I'm going to say I'm a teacher, and it'll bring you up a screen where you can enter an email or password. What you want to do is scroll down and sign in with Google. So I'm going to pick my one-to-one account. And when you sign in, I believe it'll ask them to be connected to a school, Yelena. Is that how it'll work?
It might. If it doesn't, all you need to do is just open a new tab and click on this link right here that I'm sending you. That should be the direct link. I don't know why it looks like it's not. Hold on one second. I want to make sure I give you guys I'm going to put in the chat the direct link. This could be it, but there seems like there's a lot more in here in this link. I'm not sure why it didn't do it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a direct link for Monroe building. And so what you'll do is after you log in the way Brian showed you, then just open a new tab and click on that link, and it will prompt you to join or like connect your account with that code. If you've never signed in before, you could click on the code first, or that link that I'm going to put in the chat in just a minute, and then sign in that way. Also, just to let you know, there was an email sent out, I don't remember when, probably about a month ago or so, with that information for your school. So you could search for it. It would be from the instructional technology department. But let me just put in this link for you. So that link right there, that one that says edpuzzle.com, schools join, and then the code is V7KHYS. That would be the code that you join to get the paid version of Edpuzzle.
And once you do that, once you're signed in, if you click on your icon in Edpuzzle here, under Pro School, you'll see the name of your school. So yours would say Monroe there. So that'll let you know that you are in the Pro account. So once you're logged in, you have the main page for Edpuzzle here. Over on the left, you have a lot of different options. There's the home screen, curriculum, and this is where you can go in and search through the curriculum Edpuzzle has. So if I'm a high school teacher, I can just click on this. I can go to math or whatever my curriculum area is, and I can see a bunch of stuff that they already have for me. Let's say linear equations, one variable. And I can look at videos that people have already made with Edpuzzle. All right. These little dots here will tell you how many questions they've put inside of that video. So that's the nice tool of Edpuzzle is, as students are watching the video, I can have them answer questions throughout the video. So they're not just blankly sitting and pretending to watch a video. They're going to get asked questions as the video goes on, so they have to stay engaged and pay attention. So that's one option over here is by curriculum. If you click on Rochester City School District, I can see I put in for mine math 9th grade, and I can see different videos that have been posted by people within the district. Right. My content will actually, or obviously, show you the videos that I've worked on. And then down on the bottom under the popular channels, this is a nice section where you can see there are a lot of choices. I can go to Edpuzzle and just search for my topics. And these are all videos that have been set up with Edpuzzle. They have questions embedded in them, most of them. I can also go over here and just look for a YouTube video or a Khan Academy video, all these different types of videos that I can pull into Edpuzzle and then make interactive. So I'm just going to go to my content here. I found a video yesterday subtracting polynomials. So I have the video here. Over on the side, I can see these are the questions. They call them video events. So I have an open-ended question here. I have another open-ended question, and then a multiple choice. So that'll tell me the different types. If I want to view it, what you can do is in the video bar here, I'm just going to click on that drop. In other words, so it'll take me to that part of the video, and it says, what does the negative or minus sign do to the number behind it? So you can preview those questions, and then you can go in and add your own if you want. In other words, a negative. So then I can go to the next question here. What's the negative in front of the parentheses? Another open-ended question that kids would type into. And distributing that negative slightly. And then the last one, which was a multiple choice question, I can preview that question right here. So you might not want to use all the questions that somebody had put in, or you may want to add your own. So when you go to add your own, you'll be editing and making a copy of that video into your content. All right. Another great option is this same video. I can scroll down below and see these are all other people that have used it. So it's the same video, but they have different questions through theirs. So I can go in and preview and be like, okay, this person's got 10 questions in their video. Let me see what theirs looks like. And here you can see they have a lot more stopping points where students are engaging with that video and answering some questions. So let's say I like this video. I'm going to keep it the way it is. And that's probably the easiest way for you guys to start out is find one you want to use. I can go over here to assign it. And you can see on mine, it has my Google Classrooms. I've already put those in. I've had those imported. If you don't have your classes into Edpuzzle yet, there's a nice little add class button on the bottom. I can just click on this button. I'm going to import my class from Google Classroom. And in a second, all the Google Classrooms I have will show up. So I can just click what class I want it to go to. And this is great if you have, if I teach 3 sections of algebra, I can just go in and click those 3 different classes and that video will post to all 3 of those classes. But once you have them selected, I'll just select one more class here so I can show you. I just click on that import class button. So now I can select which class do I want my video to go to. I'm just going to say that one. And then you can turn on here, post it on Google Classroom. And it will automatically create assignment in there. I have it as today. I can set the due date if I want here. Let's say I want it to be due the 19th. And once I'm ready, I just click assign. I get a nice notification here that this has been posted on my Google Classroom. And down here, I only have 1 student in my class. So it tells me he has not watched it yet and it has not been turned in. Now, if I go over, I can take a look at, real quick, I'll just show the Google Classroom. So right here, I can see I posted this Edpuzzle video at 8:51 today. Now, it didn't put it into any categories or anything for me. So I could go in here and click the 3 dots, edit it. So maybe I have a certain topic I want it to be under week 2. I can go in and set that up on the actual assignment in Google Classroom. I can type some more directions in here, especially if it's new to students. You want to give them a little instruction. So they know what they're doing with this new Edpuzzle thing. And then I'm just going to save that. Oh. So now instead of being up here on the top, I actually got it moved down into my week 2 where I wanted it. So once you post them on Google Classroom, you can go in there and set them up that way. Now another option, I'm just going to go back to content here. If you happen to have your own videos that you've made, we can go in, I'm going to go to my content over here on the left. I could add my own videos. I don't have to pick from something that's already done. Maybe I used Screencastify and I made my own video to teach the kids. I can click on add content. I'm going to upload a video. I can go straight to my Google Drive if that's where it is, or if it's on my computer, I would just click here and I can pull that video into Edpuzzle. I'm just going to show you one cool thing with Screencastify. So if I go to Screencastify where I can record my own videos, I'm going to go into my recordings here. When this opens up, I do have recordings in here somewhere. There we go. So I can just find one of the videos I've made. I'm going to click on it here. And over on the right in this menu, you'll notice I have the option to upload this video right into Edpuzzle from Screencastify. So that's a great option that you have. If you don't see this on yours, there is a nice little option here for more options. You can click on that and you'll see the upload to Edpuzzle, which you can click on so it'll show up in your sharing section. So I could just click right here. It's going to take that video and I can post it right into my Edpuzzle. And then just another option, Khan Academy. I don't know if anybody's used this a lot. For math classes, I use these videos a bit. He really does a great job. I can go in and pick his videos and then I can add my own little questions to it. So let's say, I don't know what I want to look for here, linear. Just going to search it, find his video. So now I would preview it and say, I want to figure out where am I going to add some questions. I'm going to go down here. I want to edit this. So now I can figure out where do I want to go if I want to trim some of the video. That's what this cut feature is. I might not want all of it. And then I can click on questions here. As I'm playing the video, I'm just going to click to a spot here. Let's say I want to put a video there. I'll make it a multiple choice. I'm just going to click on that selection. So I can ask the question. And then down here, I can put in my choices. I'll call center. So I have 2 choices now. I can add more. Typically, we're probably going to have 4 choices there. I'm just going to leave it as 2. And then you'll see this green check mark. We want to figure out which one is the right answer. So the first point we plot is our y-intercept. I want to make sure the red X is on my wrong answer. I've got the y-intercept as my correct answer, and I can save that question. So now you see one of those little droplets. That's telling me I added a question right there. I could then just watch a little more of that video and add my questions as I go throughout. And when I'm done with it, I'm just going to click finish here. That will take me now to the point where I can go assign that to my class. So you can start with a blank video, or you can use those Edpuzzle videos, which already have some questions through there, and you can find something that fits with your class. Anything I forgot, Ms. Melnichenko?
I'm muted. Just so like teachers, and then we don't have to necessarily show this, but when you added the videos, this is a new feature of Edpuzzle. You used to be able to just cut the videos from the front and the back, right, to make it shorter. Now you could actually cut out middle segments. You could do as many cuts as you want. And really, the way you do the end cuts is you just drag the bars to what you want, right? So go ahead and like put it, yeah. So let's say you want that. But now, because you're in the cut, if you move your cursor to like, let's say the middle somewhere and click on it, what that does is you can add a cut. So go ahead and click add a cut. And now you can move the segments this way, and exactly. So you could have as many cuts to the video. Our recommendation is the video should not be longer than 5 minutes. And that's just because of it doesn't matter if you're an adult or a child, you're going to lose interest in any video after 5 minutes. So you'll notice some of the Edpuzzle videos, they're great and they have a lot of questions in them, but they're 10 minutes long. I'm telling you right now, if you want student engagement, you're going to have a very hard time getting kids to finish a video if it's 10 minutes long. Now, it would be easier if you took that video and make two of them. Make a 5-minute video part one, and then another 5-minute video part two. And maybe you assign it in one day, maybe you assign one day and one another, and they're all done at the end of the week, you know? So think about that way. But I think it would be better if, and you could think about it too, like as a, if you've ever taken our online courses, we try to make the video shorter because you know that when we're doing that PD on what is it, the PD, Brian, that we need to take about us, the sexual harassment PD, and you have a 20-minute video, we know what happens with
There
those
it goes.
20-minute videos, right? You kind of just lose interest, you kind of start drifting off and doing other things. So definitely kind of keep an eye on that with those. But that's really nice. The other feature, other than adding questions, is you can add notes, and you could add audio notes. So what that means is you could have students maybe think before they even start the video about something, and you could actually do an audio of that. You could also have a voiceover. We did just realize, because of YouTube writing restrictions, which makes sense, you can't do a voiceover on YouTube videos, but you can do, like, if you have your own video you've uploaded and you want to just talk through it, do a better job talking, or maybe the video you had no voice at all, you could add your full voiceover on it. I think that's kind of about it in terms of the features. Do you want to show them the notes really quickly? Because that one's pretty cool. Because that's where, like, so you can add a note to students. There's a good one in the beginning. You could say, I want you to watch this video and answer the questions. But then do you see how there's like the audio little microphone? So you could click that and actually record yourself doing the note. So that'd be helpful to some of our students, I think.
And I use it sometimes when I know a very important part of the video is coming up, to tell my kids, pay close attention to the section on systems or whatever I might be teaching.
Yeah. So that's kind of, the piece of it. And as Brian commented, the best way to start is just going to that Edpuzzle element, and or that column, and just looking at what already's been done, that you could, obviously I would recommend previewing it, and I would recommend previewing you the questions, because even from my experience as using Edpuzzle in my classroom, there's few times I kind of didn't have enough time, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to assign this works, right? And then the answer, like whoever created it, they had great questions, but the answers were wrong. And so of course then the kids would be like, Miss Mel, this one is not correct. I'm like, oh my God, I should have previewed it. So just kind of definitely, if you have a chance, preview what you're posting, especially if someone created it, just to double check that the answers that they have are the correct ones. And you could also assign short answer questions. Those will be graded by you afterwards. And actually, that's what I want to show you. So, what I want to show you is that piece of what happens after you assign to Google Classroom your assignment, right? So I signed a video to my Google Class, just like Brian showed you. What happens then? So I'm in my Edpuzzle. Here's my content. I could go to my content to see. You can create folders if you want. Notice there's a lot of math um, because used to be a math teacher, but I can go to a couple of different places here. I have a grade book and I have my classes. So I'm going to kind of show you both of these. When I go to my classes, you'll see on the side right here, all your classes. You can add, so the way Brian showed you, you can add a new class when you're assigning the Edpuzzle. And this is what I love about Edpuzzle, that you can just do a lot of different things in a lot of different places. But over here, when I go to my classes, I could click add new class and add another class from Google Classroom that I want, just like the way Brian did. I can do it here. Okay, which is pretty cool. When I go to my class, there's a couple things that I can see. So here's my sample beta. It's my Google Class. There's a Google Class icon on it. I can see if I've assigned something to my students that are in progress. So you can see that. So right here, I have a video that I assigned. There's the start date. 1 out of the 6 students have turned it in. I could see that. I could also see 4 new answers. So I'll look at that in a second. In the no due dates, that's my video because I didn't put a due date on it. The due assignments, if you have videos where you say, I'm going to assign it here and it's going to be due by Friday, then they will show up in this column. I'll also see the class members here. Now, this is what happens if you have a new student in Google Classroom. So you've uploaded your Google Classroom, it's there for you. And then all of a sudden you get a new student, because you know that happens in Rochester City School District. We get new students all the time, right? As soon as that happens, as soon as you get a new student in Google Classroom, not in PowerSchool, but in Google Classroom, so you might have to add them to Google Classroom, go to your Edpuzzle, and all you need to do was click import students. And if you have any new students that aren't here yet, just click import new students and the new student will come in. That easy, okay? And again, you'll do that in my classes, clicking on the specific class. What I want to show you is this assignment right here. So this is a video that I created, or actually I took from Edpuzzle and added some more questions to it. So I'm going to click on this video and I have some different things that I can see. And this is where that engagement piece comes in. I don't have to have my students showing their screen in Zoom. I can see who has engaged in my video. So I can see that I have 2 students that have not even watched any of it at all. I have a student that watched 40% of the video. I have a student who watched 70% of the video, and then I have a student who watched 100% of the video. So even if you don't have any questions in the video, you can still see how much a student has watched the video. I also, and I know Brian didn't comment it, but he had this on. This is very important that you turn this feature on, prevent skipping. So then students don't just skip to the end of the video. So that's a big one to turn on. There's a couple of other things that you can see. If the all the questions in the Edpuzzle video are self-graded, so all of them are multiple choice, you'll see the grade right here. I had some short answers and I'll show you that in a minute. So I have to show how to grade them. I have to grade them on my own. I could see when was the last time they watched the video. So if someone said to me, if Lisa said, "Oh, well, I watched it," and I could say, "I can see that you've never even logged in, and let me help you and show you how to do it," because I'm hoping that that's the reason why you didn't log in was because you just weren't sure what to do. um so there's a lot of kind of like a big brother. You could really see what's going on with the students. Okay, you could also reset progress. So if you feel like a student, just really messed up and like, oh man, I don't, I want to redo all of it, no problem, we can reset the progress. So now I could also see right here, it says 4 answers to grade. That means they're short answer questions that I need to grade. So I could click on the 4 answers. And the question that this was just actually was kind of my mistake. I was supposed to put it as a note, but I made it as a question. So I'm just going to give everybody a grade. And notice it's just, you can make it out of 100, you can change it, and it's really an X or a check. You can add a comment if you want to each individual student, which is pretty cool. The other question was, what do you think is going to happen if you put too many zeros? You could preview the video if you don't remember as a teacher what the answer is supposed to be. Brian got this correct. And then all the answers were graded. And I can see based on the questions, okay, how the students did. So, and let me just go back to my class so I can show you that. When I go back to this, I can look at questions instead of the student view, which by the way, Brian now got 100% because remember, I just went and graded his short answer questions. So all of his questions were graded. Notice like here, I tried this and I only did 70% of the questions. I didn't get a final grade yet because I wasn't finished. But I could click on the questions and I can see what each question that I had. So here was my multiple choice questions. I can see how many students got it right. I can click on it and really look at this. Like I can see 3 people got this answer correct. No one chose these other choices. I can then go to the next one. So this is great for analytics, right? Like I can see, look, there are 2 students out of my class that got this question wrong and they chose the same answer. And if you have a lot of students, let's say you had 50% of your class do that, that's an indication to you, hey, maybe I need to address this. Maybe we'll do a do now about this specific question because we really need to address those misconceptions, right? So the analytics of Edpuzzle are just extraordinary in terms of if you are putting the questions of who's getting them right, who's not, and what is it that you need to do with that. So that's pretty cool. The other thing I want to show you, though, going back to this, is actually a student view. And you can, again, do that by going to my classes, going to the assignment, and clicking on the student. Or you can go to your grade book. So check out the grade book. This is pretty cool too. And you could export the grade book. I haven't played around with it, but it becomes a CSV file. So you could take this grade book because it has all the students from a Google Classroom and then take that and put that into Power School for your grades. But in here, again, you can see how long students have taken to watch the videos. The bar shows you how much of the video they watch, and I'll show you in more detail what it shows, which is pretty cool. And then again, the grade. So for instance, let me show you Liz, you could see the red bar. I want to know, well, how much of the video she watched? What happened here? I could click here and I could see what happened. She watched, if you could see, she watched about a minute of the video. She watched each segment of the video once, and this is where she kind of started getting wrong questions and then she stopped. So we could have that conversation with the student and say, hey, Liz, this is what I'm seeing right now from this video. Can you tell me a little bit more about what happened? Did you run out of time? Maybe the issue was, it got hard and I didn't know how to do it, but those are great conversations to have with the students. Here's one. So this one, I did the practice one, right? So you can see I watched each video, each segment. Notice right here, 3. That means that I went back because every time there's a pause in a video and the question pops up, there's an opportunity for students to rewatch that segment, right? So maybe they watched it once and the question and they were like, I didn't pick up on what the answer is, I'm going to rewatch it again. So in this case, what I did is I rewatched the video 3 times, right? And then I got it wrong, the answer. So for a teacher, the indication is something was going on in this part of the video that really didn't connect with the students and they struggled with that piece. So this is again really good way for you to kind of see. And then they gave up, right? They were like, all right, I'm done, I can't do this, I'm over it, right? So you could have those conversations with the students and kind of, get them to try to watch the entire video, and it's okay if they get it wrong or whatever the conversations. Here's Brian's. So you could see Brian video, right? Like he watched the entire thing, but you also notice a lot of the he would go back and rewatch segments of it because he'd watch it once, and then when the question was asked, he was like, "Oh man, I got to go back and pay attention to the actual video instead of just playing it," right, Brian?
I was
um,
distracted.
yeah, but it's kind of cool that it picks that up. So you could really see what's going on with the student, how often they watch the video, how much of the video they watch, how they did on the questions. I mean, it's just extraordinary with all the pieces of information. And you could really spend a good hour just analyzing the students' work after they've completed the videos. So you can, really get into that data from it. And but what's nice is even though you're spending a lot of time analyzing the data, you're not worrying about collecting it, right? Because a lot of times that's the problem with the things we try to do is we spend too much time collecting the data and then we don't have time looking at it. Where here, Edpuzzle does it all for you. It collects everything, and then you can just start looking at it and seeing, oh, which students are getting, these videos, which ones are not. And just like Brian showed you, you don't have to assign the video to all the students in Google Classroom. So you might see that, I gave a video on integers here, and I had almost all my students get it except 2. I'm gonna try to either assign another video for those 2 students that maybe goes a little bit more in depth, maybe a different way of showing it, or I work with those 2 students, but I assign another video to the other ones because I'm like, they got this. Let me give them another video to push them further, maybe subtracting now without using the counters or whatever it was in the video. Have them work on that. But while they're working on that, I'm working with the 2 kids on more student teacher instruction to see if I could figure out what's going on with them and why they were struggling with the video. Um, so with that, I'm gonna pause because that was quite a bit. Are there any questions? And you can put that in the chat
There
specifically
was
about.
one question about how the students get their grades.
Okay,
Do they
yeah.
have to go to Edpuzzle or does it post in Google Classroom?
Great question. Do you want to go to your Google Classroom as a student and see if it posted it? I can't actually, let me go to my Google Classroom. I guess I should probably see if it posted it. Let me share this back. That's a great question. And I was like, oh, I should check, and I never did. So let's check together what happens, because with Brian, remember I gave him 100, right? So let me go to sample beta class and let me go to the assignment, the Edpuzzle assignment, and one person turned it in, right? And look what happened. As soon as I graded, I'm so glad this happened because I didn't remember if it was going to. As soon as I graded in Edpuzzle, but I do have to go to Edpuzzle to grade if I have short answer questions. Now, if it's multiple choice, it will grade automatically, and it looks like the grades will be posted right in here automatically, which is pretty cool, right? Because it's one less thing that we have to do. Notice that these ones were not because they never turned in the assignment because they never finished it. And I think, Brian, if I'm not mistaken, you didn't have to turn it in Google Classroom, right?
I did turn it in Google Classroom.
Oh, you did turn it in Google Classroom. Did you have to do anything after you finished watching the video? Like, did it prompt you to turn it in Google Classroom?
I turned it in Edpuzzle, and then my Google Classroom assignment still didn't have turned in, so I clicked on the turn in
Okay.
button.
And again, and I don't think necessarily, I mean, the kid, I mean, it would be nice if the kids turned it in Google Classroom. I don't think it's necessary for the Edpuzzle piece of grading the assignment and putting it in. But again, just notice that if it is short answer questions, you will have to go back to Edpuzzle to grade it. And you want to go back to Edpuzzle just to look at the analytics because you don't get that here, right? You just get the grade. You don't get like like how much of the video they watched and the questions that they got. But that was great. Great question. I'm glad that we looked at that. Any other ones?
Can students turn in the assignment without finishing the video?
Um, No, so when I mean they could turn it in Google Classroom. Sure,
Google
they could turn
Classroom.
in the assignment without doing it. But what I did is that wasn't necessarily where I looked for an Edpuzzle assignment, is I went in Edpuzzle myself, right? Because in an Edpuzzle is where I can see, and I can see that it doesn't matter if Liz turned it in or not. She didn't finish it, so I can maybe if I they turned it in, and maybe your grade depends on how much they finish. So maybe I'll give Liz out of 10 points too, and I will make a comment, a private comment in Google Classroom and say, I just want to let you know I'm giving you a 2 right now because you only watched this amount of the video and completed 20% of the questions. If you would like your grade to be higher, please go back and rewatch the video and finish, or not rewatch, but what's nice is that you can continue on from where you ended with, which is really cool. Like you don't have to go back from the beginning because it saves all your information. But you could have those conversations with the students and they just go back and finish it. And then, you could regrade it for them, or, the really the computer will grade it for you, or Edpuzzle will grade it for you. Um, so that's a way kind of to do it. And that's what I did. I think in the beginning, students don't realize how much we can see in Edpuzzle. And so I actually, when I started using Edpuzzle, I talked to students about it. Like had them watch a video and answer questions. And then afterwards, I showed them what I can see. So then they could be like, oh my God, like you could actually see if I watched the video or how much of it I watched and how many times I rewatched it and the questions. I was like, oh yeah, I could see everything. And I got more students to start completing them because I could see it. And I started giving grades just for completion. So again, it just depends on where your students are. If you're noticing that your students aren't even completing the work, maybe start out with just giving grades about, like, I just want you to watch this video and answer this question. If you don't get it right, it's okay. It's just a check for understanding, but I just want to see if you can actually just complete it, right? And give that grade. Or maybe you give 2 grades, one for completion, one for correct or incorrect. That's up to you.